Translation, and we'll be here from Canna and Cuzz from T1, taking down Africa Freaks 2-0. 1,000 POG points, Canna. How do you feel?
제가 이 자리에 좀 많이 나오는 것 같은데.
I think I've been doing interviews a lot. It feels nice and happy that we got a clean 2-0 win tonight. Back-to-back interview with Canna and Cuzz. How do you feel? I saw the POG votes and happy that I got a unanimous vote over to me in the game number 2. And I'm happy that I was able to execute the plays that I planned. Well, out of 12 votes for Cuzz in Game 2. And this was Teddy's first Senna game in the summer split, and also Lucian over to Canna. Is that a new strategy for the playoffs? We've said this every time, and we are always practicing every possible picks. So I hope people just don't think that we're kind of team that doesn't really play Senna or other picks. Speaking of the picks, I want to ask you about Lilia because Spirit said he's gonna play it in this series. I can also play Lilia, so we didn't really care much. And whenever a new champion comes out, we always do experiments with it. So I hope our fans are not worried about it. Cuzz, how do you rate this champion currently? I played Lilia from time to time on solo queue and I carried a lot of games. I think it's a really good pick, so you can look forward to it. Are we gonna see it on competitive games? Every champion is viable. Typical players interview quotes coming out. And Canna, so you played Lucian, and that was not a flex pick Lucian, that was the last pick coming in from the side of T1 in a very later phase of the ban. A lot of top picks were banned out, and I practiced Lucian a lot recently on solo queues and scrims, and I was quite confident in this pick, so I told my coaching staff that I wanted to play Lucian a lot during the scrims. And you did the most damage on Lucian, and you are the only players on the side of T1 that didn't die once. So who plays Lucian better, Canna or Teddy? Teddy, well, he's definitely a good Lucian player, but for the top Lucian pick, I think I'm better than Teddy. What do you think, Cuzz? I think Canna has been performing really well on top Lucian. So for top Lucian, I think Canna is really good. And I've never saw him playing ADC yet, but well, speaking of ADC, I think Teddy will be definitely the OP player. In game number 2, at the voice com, we heard that after you got the first blood, you stated that, well, it's gonna be a jungle carry game. I mean, I was definitely confident, but outside of that, if I kind of tell my players that I'm gonna carry, I knew that I can kind of get rid of the burdens of my teammates. So I do that really often. Well, you got spotted by Ash when you were camping the Raptor camp, and you ended up pathing around the top side of the map. Well, I don't want to go too specific because it's about my strategy, but I try my best to come up with some creative pathings. So I wanted to make a lot of setups, and also I was keeping my eyes on the lanes, so figure out where I can go for a gank. Well, Canna in the previous interview, he said Cuzz is definitely one of the junglers that doesn't really camp in the top lanes, and he hopes Cuzz to gank top more. I mean, he doesn't really call for ganks. That's why I'm a little bit sad that he stated so. I mean, because other laners calls him a lot, so I just didn't want it to give him the pressure. But I still hope Cuzz ganks for me a little bit more. But today I was really happy that he ganked top lane, and also he made great calls, so I was having a very comfortable game. Cuzz, you are the main shot caller of your team, so How was your call overall? We were able to execute some of the calls and plays that we planned during the scrims. And also today, Canna especially was beating down the enemy on Lucian really well. And Cuzz, your set was also phenomenal, so let's take a look at the highlights. This was a perfect gang. Every time I always keep in mind where the opponents are at, and I knew that well, Volibear and Thresh was in a far proximity, so I went for that play. And you also neutralized the Ashe ultimate with your ultimate, so was that intended? I mean, I was just looking for the angle for the showstopper, but at the same, well, Mystic used his ultimate at the same time, so that was a lucky shot. T1 is getting back at their best form. So how do the players rate your performance? First, Cuzz. Well, we have two stronger teams to face up against, but we are now getting better at executing the plays that we prepared. So based on this performance, we will do our best to secure as many wins possible. Canna, what about you? Compared to the beginning of the summer split, I think now we are showing a little bit more of a stable performance, so we want to keep this kind of form and keep winning the remaining series. So, who's gonna win the T1's MVP belt tonight? Maybe Closer? Closer was popping off on Zoe. What about you, Canna? I wanna say Cuzz. Cuzz, would you like to change your answer? I cannot vote for myself, so I didn't say it though. So we'll check out the results on T1's social media. And as you mentioned, you will be facing up against TRX and Taman Gaming next week, but you guys have a week to prepare. Doesn't matter the opponent, we have to focus on our performance and plays. We have to be able to do the performance and the setups that we want to go for. So your next opponent will be Taman Gaming, and Nuguri said he's keeping his eyes on Canna. So any message over to Nuguri, Canna? I always thought that Nuguri is such a great player. And I've never talked to him yet, but I want to get closer to him. Well, I mean, we always think that top laners are tough guys, but we can always realize that players will always want to get together and hang out and become friends in real life. And Cuzz, any message over to Kenyan, your opposing jungler? I think Kenyan is a great player, and I will work really hard to take him down. I really hope so. So this will be the end of the interview with Canna, Cuzz from T1 picking up 2-2 victory up against Africa Freaks.